Policies Packet, page 1. HIPAA Laws and Compliancy Policy. His Ability Home Care is HIPAA law compliant. This means that we will enforce the privacy rules for healthcare providers. Employees at His Ability Home Care will protect the privacy of the client by not discussing the client and his care with anyone. This includes diagnoses, procedures, medications, addresses, and phone numbers of the client or their family members. Any information that pertains to the client and his care in the privacy of his home or while out at appointments will be kept confidential. To clarify, you may give information to another caregiver who is also taking care of the same client, but the information must be related to the care of the client. You may not discuss clients with other caregivers who are not working on the same case or disclose information about the client that does not pertain to the client's care. Disclosing confidential information to anyone other than another caregiver who is on the case or office staff will result in immediate termination. Page 2. Case Note Policy and Procedures. His Ability Home Care is HIPAA compliant. This includes case notes. Number 1. All notes must be kept in a folder at the client's home. This includes blank case notes. No caregiver should take home notes, whether blank or filled out. Number 2. All notes will be mailed to the office from the client's home every Friday or the last day of shift worked per week. A maximum of 5 notes per envelope due to postage limitations. Number 3. The caregiver that works on Friday or the last shift of the week will be responsible for mailing in all the notes from the client's home. Procedures for charting case notes. Number 1. Notes must be charted as you are working the shift. Number 2. Senior Alliance cases must have an entry every 15 minutes. Number 3. When charting, always include AM or PM. Number 4. Always chart your notes in ink, never in pencil. Number 5. The charted times must coincide with the hours and shift worked. Number 6. Notes must be original to the shift and times worked. No carbon copies. Number 7. Notes must be signed and dated by the caregiver. Please make sure your name and date is legible. Number 8. All notes must be signed by the client. If the client is unable to sign, write "Client unable to sign." Contact the office when notes are low. The office will then mail blank notes to the client's home. Page 3. Case Note Policy and Procedures continued. Notes are legal documents and a vital part of His Ability Home Care. Notes are required by insurance and government agencies for proof of service. Notes may be requested and reviewed by these agencies at any time. His Ability Home Care must be ready to provide these notes immediately upon request. Duplicate, incomplete, and notes not received will result in the following steps of discipline. First occurrence will result in a verbal warning. Second occurrence will result in discontinuation of direct deposit for 3 months. The caregiver will be required to pick up their check in the office. Third occurrence will result in discontinuation of direct deposit indefinitely. The office will mail paychecks to the caregiver's home. Fourth occurrence may result in termination. The above occurrence policy will be measured on a 12-month rolling calendar, starting with the first occurrence. For example, if the first occurrence is December 15, 2012, it will continue to be counted until December 15, 2013. Page 4. Complaint Policy. As a home care agency, it is our policy to make our clients as comfortable in their home as possible. We treat them with the utmost respect and want them to feel at ease with our caregivers. Their wishes are our highest concern. Clients may feel uneasy with certain personalities, attitudes, or communications from caregivers. If for whatever reason we receive a pattern of requests that you not return to a case by more than one client, we reserve the right to end your employment. Problems and questions. All problems and questions are to be handled through the office. It is not the employee's job to deal with an unhappy client. Politely suggest that the client call the office and talk to a manager. Never give clients or their family members your personal phone number or address. This can create problems. Page 5. Personal Discussions Policy. Discussions between two employees or employees and their clients should always be professional in nature. Gossip or provoking questions regarding pay rates or about another employee's work habits is considered unethical and unprofessional. Conversations of this nature are strictly prohibited at all times. Any reports of such discussions between employees or clients should be brought to the attention of our office personnel. Conversations of this nature will be treated as grounds for disciplinary action at the discretion of management. As always, we invite employees to discuss their concerns regarding the above subjects with our office management. Page 6. Caregiver Responsibilities Policy. Always, upon arrival, report to office immediately if you notice new damage to client's home or appliances, unsanitary environment, including infestations of rodents or insects, noncompliance with the plan of care, alterations of scheduled services. You must contact office immediately if client cuts your visit short or cancels upon arrival. You may not leave early without contacting the office. Also report if a client misses doctor's visits, nursing visits, meals, or anything that may put him in a vulnerable state. Signs of abuse or neglect. Management will report to APS or TSA, not the caregiver. Illegal activity in the home. Violence or threatening gestures of any kind. Cussing and foul language. Sexual comments, gestures, or solicitations. Then, check for special notes from the family. Find out where special notes are posted and read daily. Ask for changes in the case from the previous caregiver or the client's family. Document new information and update the office of any serious changes in the client's care or condition. Ask about changes to medication reminder times and update the office if applicable. Take the time to get an update from the caregiver you relieve. Read the notes from the previous day's shifts and caregivers. Employees must maintain a healthy, professional relationship with the clients. Page 7. Caregiver Responsibilities Policy Continued. Never accept gifts of any kind, money, personal items, etc. Nicely refuse. Never borrow anything from the client. Never lend anything to the client. Never sell anything to the client, cookies, jewelry, etc. Never counsel a client in his or her religious or political beliefs. Never eat or drink the client's food, even if the client offers. Never move the client's possessions, such as valuables or money. Never throw anything away unless asked by the client, and document it. Never leave the client's home when on breaks. Never smoke while on the clock, in or out of the home. 24-hour cases, ask about exceptions. Never leave until you are relieved by the next caregiver or the shift is over. Never leave the client's home early unless you contact the office first. Never talk about the client or what goes on in their home to anyone other than management. Page 8. Emergency Unscheduled Absence Protocol. In order to fill every shift in an emergency, we need to act quickly. Should you be unable to work your shift, help us to fill it by following our protocol. Number 1. Employees must keep calling emergency telephone numbers until they reach a live person. Number 2. Employees must leave a message with each telephone call if no one answers. Number 3. If an employee does not call all contact numbers until someone is reached, it may result in disciplinary action up to and including suspension or termination of employment. Number 4. Please call as soon as possible. The more time we have, the more likely we can fill the shift. Points. If you have a car accident on your way to work, the office will require a police report. If you have a vehicle breakdown, the office will require a copy of receipt for repairs. If you have a flat tire, you must change the flat and come into work within 2 hours. The office will require a receipt for the tire purchase or repair service. Family emergencies may require paperwork depending on the nature of the emergency. If you need to leave for a personal emergency, be prepared to stay at your case until appropriate backup arrives or you're released by management. Note: whenever we are unable to fill a shift, management must notify the family or the senior alliance to ensure no client will be left in a vulnerable state. We are a team and we rely on you to do your part so we can do ours. Thank you. Phone numbers and times to call are on your badge. Page 9. Scheduling Responsibilities. Inform management of any pre-planned vacations or appointments you have scheduled before entering into employment. There will be no conflict of interest between His Ability Home Care and any other employer. It is unacceptable to call off or change the permanent schedule because of another job. Before accepting a schedule, you must make sure you are available for all the days and shifts offered to you. If you have accepted a specific schedule and are no longer available for those days for any reason, management reserves the right to remove you from the case entirely. Because of possible emergency scheduling, you are required to have a working cellular phone and provide that cellular number to management. Should your cellular phone be disabled, please notify the office immediately. Please call the office back within 2 hours of our phone calls if we leave a message requesting you to call us. Page 10. Vacation. Employees will be on probation for the first 90 days of employment. No schedule changes may be requested during this period. All employee schedule change vacation requests must be emailed or made in writing and turned into the office. We do not accept requests by cell phone texts. Unused vacation days do not accumulate. Employees will be allowed the following amount of time off. Number 1, 7 scheduled unpaid vacation days per year. Point A, vacation requests must be submitted with at least 1 month's notice. Number 2, 4 scheduled unpaid personal days off or schedule changes a year. Point A, personal time or schedule changes must be submitted with at least 2 weeks' notice. Point 3, 4 unpaid sick days per year after your probation period ends. Point A. For sick time, please notify management as soon as possible. Refer to Emergency Unscheduled Absence Protocol on page 8. B. In an emergency, be prepared to stay at your case until appropriate backup arrives or you're released by management. C. If you miss 3 consecutive days, we will require a doctor's note. If the ability to perform your job changes due to sickness, injury, or pregnancy, you must notify management immediately. Page 11. Client Emergency Policy. An emergency form is kept in the case folder at the client's home at all times. The emergency form lists the client's full name, phone number, address, and numbers of family members to be contacted in order. His Ability Home Care emergency numbers, local police, fire, and poison control phone numbers, and any special emergency instructions. In the event of an emergency, it is policy for the caregiver to follow these guidelines. Number 1. In the event of fire, severe weather, or natural disaster, assist the client to a secure place predetermined by the family. It is important to remember the client's safety first, then yourself, and then the client's comfort. Number 2. Call 911. Follow the directions of the 911 operator. It is very important that the caregiver be the one to call 911 in order to answer all the questions the 911 operator may have. Number 3. Stay on the line with the 911 operator until they end the call. Number 4. Inform the client that you will notify the office of the emergency. The office will contact the client's family. Use a soft, calm voice when speaking to the client. This will help the client not to panic. Number 5. Do not leave the client until instructed by the office or after-hours personnel. Number 6. Call the office or after-hours number as soon as possible. Inform them of the emergency and the client's condition. You must call the office or after hours until a live person is reached. Leave a message after every attempt. Number 7. If you're unable to reach the office, please accompany the client in the ambulance. Number 8. Call the office or after hours with any updates on the client's condition. This policy list may be used in many possible emergencies. If there is an emergency and these policies cannot be adhered to, remember this rule. Client safety first, then yourself, then the client's comfort. Page 12. Non-medical medications policy. As a non-medical agency, caregivers will remind clients to take their medications according to the schedule provided by the client or their family. The names and types of medications must be unknown by the caregiver. All medications must be allotted to our clients by the family or the client from a pre-dispensed and pre-measured container. Caregivers will never dispense medications directly from prescription, non-prescription, or over-the-counter medication containers. The nature of our client's medications will always remain a private matter between the client and his doctor. Caregivers are to report to our office if they notice any changes in the client's ability to take medications. The office will contact the designated family members. The office will contact the Senior Alliance case manager for participants in this program. Page 13. Certification and Training Policy and Procedures. Certifications. For employees that have any type of certifications, license, or degree, the following applies. It is at the employee's discretion if they want to keep their certifications and licenses current. His Ability Home Care does not require it. If you have a certification, please provide us with a current copy. His Ability Home Care does not pay for continuing education classes or renewal fees which are needed to keep certifications current. Training. His Ability Home Care will require every employee to participate in at least 3 training sessions per year. These training sessions are free, but do not provide any credit toward continued education. On-site training will be provided to employees when necessary. The 3 training sessions per year is a mandatory part of employment. Training sessions are conducted in the office. Office training sessions may be done in a group setting or one-on-one. Scheduling for the 3 mandatory classes will be available in advance. Employees will be allowed to change the date of the sessions 2 times with a 1-week notice when applicable. Employees that are a no-call, no-show for the sessions will be subject to disciplinary action per management's discretion. Employee class schedule results will be recorded here. Page 14. Pages 14 and 15 are here for your information. They describe various types of transfer equipment that might be used by our clients. You should read these pages to become familiar with the different types and names. As always, you will receive training regarding the transfer method used by a client when you first start the case. Please turn to page 16. Page 16, Training Wage and Emergency Wage Policy. Training wages. The caregiver candidate will not be paid for the time spent during interview. Page 16, Payroll Schedule. His Ability Pay Dates. Paychecks are issued semi-monthly, which is twice per month. Paydays are the 15th and the last day of the month. If these dates fall on Saturday or a bank holiday, payday will be the day before that date. If payday falls on a Sunday, checks will also be paid on the Friday prior to that date. For example, if August 15th falls on a Saturday, payday will be Friday, August 14th. If September 30th payday falls on a Sunday, payday will usually be Friday, September 28th. Any delays that we become aware of in payroll would be communicated prior to payday. In 9 years, payroll has never been delayed for caregivers in this company. Direct deposit. His Ability Home Care employees enjoy direct deposit payroll benefits at no cost to the employees. If you choose direct deposit, we will need a voided check or bank letter stating your bank name, routing number, and full account number for transaction purposes, including all zeros. Live checks are also printed and available for pickup on paydays for those who do not choose direct deposit. We will mail your paycheck if you choose not to pick it up. If you prefer a mailed check, we are happy to mail yours the day before payday. If you choose this option, please let us know right away. Training Wage and Emergency Wage Policy. Training wages. The caregiver candidate will not be paid for the time spent during interview and orientation process. If you are placed on a new case and training is required, you'll be trained by another His Ability caregiver. The hours worked during the training period will be paid at the current minimum wage rate of $7.40 per hour, as stipulated by the U.S. Department of Labor. Training is usually only 1 or 2 hours. Once training is completed, your normal pay rate will be paid for the hours worked as the sole caregiver. Emergency Wage Policy. When a caregiver works a last-minute shift, requested with less than 12 hours notice, she will be paid at the emergency pay rate of $12 per hour for that shift. Page 17. Daylight Savings Policy. We pay actual hours. How does daylight savings time affect payments due under the FLSA? Pursuant to the Uniform Time Act, as amended by the Emergency Policy Act of 2005, daylight savings time is observed from the second Sunday of March until the first Sunday of November. Springing forward. The arrival of daylight savings time in March requires clocks to be moved forward 1 hour at 2 a.m. Shift workers who are on duty at the time and who normally work an 8-hour shift will actually only work 7 hours. An employer, as a matter of policy, may decide to pay the normal 8 hours of pay for that shift. But under the Fair Labor Standards Act, the employer is not required to include the additional hour of pay when calculating an employee's regular rate of overtime. However, because the extra hour of pay is not compensation for actual hours worked in the work week, no part of that amount may be credited towards overtime compensation that may be due if the employee qualifies for overtime during the rest of the work week. We pay actual hours. Note, if an employee has overtime hours worked in that week other than the day of daylight savings time change, that 1 hour will be taken away from regular hours, not overtime hours. We pay actual hours. Falling back. When returning to standard time during November, clocks are moved back 1 hour at 2 a.m. Shift workers on duty at that time will actually work an extra hour for a total of 9 hours of work. Employees must be paid for all 9 hours. They are also entitled to overtime on the basis of all hours worked during the week, including the extra hour worked during the conversion to standard time. We pay actual hours. Note, prior to 2007, daylight savings time ran from the first Sunday of April until the last Sunday of October. The Department of Energy is studying the impact of the time change on energy consumption in the United States. Congress retains the right to revert back to the former time schedule once the study is complete. Page 18. Dress Code Hygiene Policy. It is the policy of His Ability Home Care that each employee's dress, grooming, and personal hygiene should be appropriate to the work situation. Your His Ability badge must be worn at all times while working. Scrubs, shirts, and pants in any color are acceptable. His Ability Home Care t-shirts are available for purchase. Uniforms should be washed and pressed for every shift. They must be fresh smelling, no stains, and no wrinkles. You should have at least 2 sets of uniforms. Socks and shoes. Clean white tennis or Croc-style shoes and clean white socks. No jewelry of any kind, including all body piercing. Tattoos should not be visible at any time. Fingernails should be short, clean, and groomed. Hair must be clean, combed, and neatly trimmed or arranged. Hair off shoulders, pulled back away from face. No facial hair. Men should be cleanly shaven for every shift. When using hair products, non-scented are recommended. No perfumes of any kind or scented lotions. Clients can be very sensitive to smells. This includes cigarette smoke, perfumes, body sprays, and food smells. Please make sure your uniforms do not smell.
Scented hand sanitizer is an acceptable alternative to perfume if you're looking for something to cover up the smell of smoke. Apply generously and rub hands together as if you were to be washing your hands at a sink.
Page 19. Temporary position. Please fill in your name. I understand that the position and all shifts offered for the duration of my employment with His Ability Home Care are temporary, and there is no guarantee of steady hours, either part-time or full-time. My hours may be cut or stopped without notice regardless of my performance due to the nature of the job. I understand that the clientele may be hospitalized, pass away, or improve in health suddenly. Clients could relocate or cancel services without notice. In any case, my position may become unavailable at any time through no fault of His Ability Home Care. Staying employed. If my hours become unavailable, His Ability Home Care may recommend me to other agencies who could offer me employment based on recommendation. If you agree, please sign your name and date the form.